Yes, welcome back to the channel everyone. Bradamckinnon here, back with another video. Today we're just going to look at the process of repairing cracked ceilings, and if you can see straight away here, this ceiling here has got some big cracks right through the whole thing, and on closer inspection of this ceiling I noticed that it had never been taped originally. It was sort of a this room is just off a garage there through that door, and back in the day it was probably just thrown up really quickly with just some clouts, some old nails there which weren't even put in properly and only minimal amount used, so you're just asking for trouble really. So we're just going to repair this ceiling. There's two main joints in it and a couple of butt joints or end joints. So first thing I'm going to do is just re-screw the whole ceiling with some proper drywall screws. Very important to get them in correctly, and if you want to see a video on that you can check out the one linked in the description, the importance of using drywall screws. And we're just going to go right through here and just screw. There's timber battens at 400 centers there, and the end joints there are just joined on the timber batten, so we're just going to put screws on every batten and then right through the butt joints. And then what I'm going to do, as you can see here, is just use my Stanley knife and just cut a sort of a V groove, just enough for the plaster compound to go in and give it a bit more strength when we put the tape in. Just a little gap there, and we'll just press the compound in before we put our jointing tape over it, and just give it a scrape and a clean up. And I'll go through all the joints and do that once I've re-screwed them there. That butt joint there was a bit of a problem because the one sheet was on the timber, but then the next sheet was only just on the timber, so I had to put those screws on an angle just to get some fixing there, which wasn't ideal, but I put a few extras in just to get it right. See here, we're just going to cut this one out through the center light. Just cut any sort of loose paint out, or bits of whatever plaster they used back in the day, and just give something for the new compound to sort of set into. So you'll just have to sort of, when you start re-screwing your ceiling, finding those timbers, finding the battens, and even through the centers there they just put in some old nails and they've all popped, you know, so just re-screwing next to the nails that are there and just pulling the ceiling back up, because it was sort of dropped down a bit. Once the nails break the face paper, that just sort of sags down. So once that's all complete and done, I just get out the sander there, and I like to sort of scuff up the paint area where I'm going to be putting the plaster on. So I'm just using a 60 grit on the Festool sander. If you don't have a machine sander, just a pole sander or even a hand sander is fine, just to scuff it up there, give the new compound something to adhere to. So I just go through and sand all that. And since it's a small ceiling, and I know the painter that's following me, who's going to be painting the ceiling, thought I'd give him a hand. I'll just sand the whole ceiling so he doesn't have to do it. He can just come in and start painting. Sort of like to help each other out here in the trades. So once that's done, we're all ready for a bit of plaster compound to go on. So, and because I'm going over paint, I like to use a pre-mixed multi-purpose compound. These pre-mixed compounds are glue based, so they have a glue binder in them which has better adhesion to paint, I find, than the setting compounds which are gypsum based. So I like to press that compound into that little V gap we made with the Stanley knife, and then sort of put a filler coat over the whole joint before putting the tape on. I'm just using a fiberglass mesh tape. Once we've got the tape on, we're just going to sort of lightly press that tape into the compound there. And just force out any extra. Then straight away I like to go over the tape again with another layer of compound, so that tape is bedded in between two layers of compound. So once that dries, it's going to give it its strength. So just remember, this is a 3-step process. First coat, which is the sort of taping in coat, I'm going to let that dry. Then we're going to do a sort of second filler coat, and we'll let that dry, and then we'll come back and do the third final coat. So just remember that this pre-mixed compound has got a bit of shrinkage in it, so as it dries it shrinks back and sort of sucks in. So that's why we need to let it dry in between coats. So this video will just be the taping in process here. I've plenty more videos on this channel if you want to see how to finish it with the second and third coats and the final sand, so I'll link that in the description below. Just going to do these butt joins here, same process. Compound on, then the tape, another compound over the top of it. So we'll speed up this last bit here. And that's all the process for repairing cracked ceilings. Getting the drywall screws in, cutting out that sort of V groove on the joints, then applying some compound and tape. And also doing any screws that are popped or nails that are popped, redoing those. So just with this butt joint here, it was quite sort of sunk up, I guess, or sort of that timber batten there was sort of up a bit, so which made that quite hollow. So I thought I'd just put a bit of a filler coat on for the first coat. That just makes it easier once it's dry to do those long tapered joints. Just smooth it out as much as you can. So if you've got minimal scraping back to do before you apply a second coat. You notice I'm wearing a glove there just when I'm using that fibre fuse tape. And the reason I'm wearing a hat is just keep some of those fibres out of my face as the tape unrolls. Also good to wear a mask if you've got one. But again, if you're keen to see the rest of the process, check out the video linked in the description. And that's how I go about repairing cracked ceilings. Same process, cracked walls if you've got a cracked wall. So Hope you enjoyed that one, guys. Thanks for watching. Any questions, leave them below in the comments and I'm happy to answer them. And I'll see you on the next one.